Action.
Oh, you just want me to say something like that?
Yeah.
I'm Greg Virgoe and I live in a van.
Cheers. Where are we today, Greg?
Enjoying ourselves in, was it sunny Banbury, near Oxford?
Are we in a pub? And did we go to the pub yesterday?
Yeah, we may have. We may have gone to the pub yesterday.
And what did we do in the evening?
There's a theme occurring here, isn't there? Yeah.
I'm going to film every beer that we drink today, just for the evidence. So what have we got there? A pale ale?
Yeah, pale ale, Andy's ale. It's really just my first pint.
It's just the same.
It's the same glass I've had the whole day.
Oh, mind that.
I thought you'd actually
Slapstick, innit?
I'll give him a slapstick.
So Greg's got his bike out. So are you riding your bike for exercise reasons, Greg?
Yes, it's to shed a few calories prior to the commencement of snacks later.
That's not what I heard. I heard that you were just cycling so you could go down the road to get beers. Is this correct? Nothing to do with your health.
I can't comment on that, I'm afraid.
We'll see the evidence when you return then.
Good luck. Thanks. See you soon, hopefully.
What Google failed to mention was that it's 2 miles downhill and 2 miles
Uphill.
seriously uphill on the way back.
Oh dear.
About 15 kilos of goods in me back. So I'm shattered.
What's in there then, Greg?
I've got you some vegan crisps.
One approves as well for some reason.
And just more snacks generally, no beers.
No beers,
No,
that's all right.
that's up there.
We're teetotal now, aren't we?
Healthy snacks, carrots and things.
It's got a really good sound to it. Really pleased how it came out. I did all these little inlays, mother of pearl and that. And this was just a piece of walnut stuck on the top. Cut all the frets in and did the whole thing. This was an actual piece of bone.
Okay. I want to know where you got that from.
It's
Found it when you were walking in the woods.
No, most it's a proper guitar piece.
Oh.
Most nuts on guitars are made of bone.
5 minutes a day.
Yeah, that's what I do. Just 5 minutes, that's all. But if I do it every day, then it'll mount up.
I don't know, rubbish. Loads of practice needed.
I guess like you were saying earlier, it's been really nice to catch up with you guys. I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we were. We had a fantastic time with you out in Spain.
Yeah, it was great,
Portugal,
wasn't
and
it?
that. So,
Yeah,
really
so many good memories. Keep looking back over the footage, and we had a good time, didn't we?
Beaches
Yeah.
and campfires and that sort of thing. Yeah.
And many beers, many beers.
And one or two.
Yeah, yeah. And I find it's when you're living in a van, when you meet people that you get on with and you want to meet them again, it's sometimes quite hard to organise, isn't it?
Yeah,
because everybody's in different parts of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then you have to kind of organise it and try and get your diaries to match up.
Yeah, and especially now, of course, our situation, we were obviously in lockdown with everybody else for a couple of months, and we literally just sat in the van, not doing anything at all. And then, we're kind of hoping that it was all going to be over relatively quickly and whatever, and then we could all get back to normal. But obviously, as it's panned out, it's going to be here for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So we were thinking, well, what do we feel comfortable doing, you know? And we didn't really at the time feel comfortable going back out into Europe. Mainly really from our point of view is really from like a health insurance type scenario.
Yeah.
And it was just, we thought it would be difficult to go back out. So we made the conscious decision to stay in the UK. And as it happened, a company that I used to work with contacted me. Thought, yeah, it's an ideal opportunity to do that contract, put a little bit of money back in the savings account for when things do ease up and we can go straight back out and then spend a lot longer time travelling. And it's almost like it's added to our original plans of doing like this was our early retirement plan, if you like. So I'm only in my early 50s, and what we wanted it to be was where we could only have to work maybe 1 or 2 months of the year. That would give us enough finances to then travel for the rest of the year. So that was our plan, really. I didn't want to work full time. I want to enjoy myself really while I'm able to enjoy myself, and van life was totally the vehicle to do that. You know, if we could get rid of our finances and what was tying us to both working full time,
absolutely,
house, bills, cars, and all the rest of it that goes with it, get rid of that and live a lot more frugally, still have a good life and still do the things that you want to do, but just enjoy yourself.
Absolutely,
more.
We talked about it while we were under the influence of a few beers, didn't we, last night? And I think you and I are both a similar age.
Yeah.
And I think I've got the same viewpoint as you, really. I mean, I'd decided to live in a van in a different context as my kind of retirement. So it was like, I'll work, and then when I'm 65, 70, I'll retire and I'll get a motorhome and I'll do a bit of travelling.
Yeah.
And then when, I imagine you're the same, when you get into your 50s, suddenly nobody's getting married. People that you went to school with, they're starting to pass away.
Yeah.
And you start thinking, my God, you know, people that I actually knew well are no longer with us.
Absolutely.
So we decided, well, perhaps we could do it now. And then we discovered the van life kind of movement, for want of a better phrase, and we went, oh, I've never heard of that. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're much like you. So how long have you lived in your van now?
Well, we got rid of the house in July 2018.
Yeah.
So we didn't move into it initially because it was still unfinished, but pretty shortly after that, so it's been 2 years we've been living in the van full time. We only had a short period of time in the first winter where we stayed with my mum at her home for a couple of months, but then after that, we've been in it for 2 years full time. So, and it's been great. Been lovely.
And when you break it down, it's quite a radical thing to do, really, isn't it?
Yeah, when you talk to other people, as soon as you say, "Oh, I live in the van," they look at you like you're really strange, like, you know.
Yeah.
But when you actually boil it down and explain the reasons why and what you can do and how and what it costs you to live and enjoy yourself, and we still have the same. You know, the same kind of standard of lifestyle that we had when we had a house. I think we have a better standard of lifestyle, to be honest, in terms of it's less stressful and everything else. But we still, you know, if we want to watch a TV, we watch a TV. If we want to go out, we will go out. And it's no different. But the biggest benefit by far, I think, is the fact that we're just able to travel and able to experience all these places that we probably wouldn't do if we were stuck in a house and tied to a full-time job.
Yeah.
And having the freedom to do that has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when you break it down, it's you know, when we were in our house, I think our outgoings were something like £2,500 a month. So that was our rent, food, our utility bills, you know, running your car, whatever, and then you'd save up a bit, and then every year you'd have a nice holiday and you go to Lanzarote or wherever you wanted for 2 weeks. And what I find is now, I think we're spending less than £800 a month. And I hate to say it, but it feels like we're just on holiday every day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's just incredible.
Initially, when we planned to do this, we thought, right, we'll take a year out of work. That was our original plan. We saved and saved and saved. We got rid of a lot of personal possessions. We both had cars. I had motorbikes and things like that. So, you know, that all went. Obviously the house went. We got rid of a lot of our possessions in terms of furniture and stuff like that. And for a course of a year, we didn't really do anything or go anywhere or go out, and just saved and saved and saved. We were both full-time employed and earning reasonable wages, so we could do that. And we saved enough to pay us, like, basically, so we could have £1,000 a month to live on for a year. So we had sort of 12 grand saved in the bank. I actually had a bit more because just, you know, for emergencies and things like that. I didn't want it to be that tight. But we thought our original plan was we'll just have a year out of work and we'll go travel and we'll totally chill out. And if at the end of that year that money runs out and then we need to come back to work, so be it. You know, that's what we'll do. We'll get another job. It's not the end of the world. At least we'll have had that experience and been able to enjoy it. And that's the original plan. And then what we found is we can actually, you know, through things like YouTube and other means, we can actually finance this long term, because we can live so cheaply. And some months, like you said, you know, £600 or £700 a month is all you're spending, and you're still living quite comfortably. And we were the same as you. I mean, our house bills and that totaled nearly 2,000. You know, we were paying rent at the time and council tax and all the bills and
stuff,
everything else. You know, you've got all that, you take that away, and what you're left with is the running costs of the van, some diesel and food. And if you don't travel very far, stay in one place, I mean, we only fill the van up at the moment once a month, so that's sort of 70, 80 quid a month in diesel, and then the rest of it's food. So you can eke that money out over a really long period of time. And that's been fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. You can have a really high standard of living from an eating perspective and so on, and be staying in the most beautiful places. And then if you become bored or fed up with wherever you are, or the weather's not right or whatever reason, you can just drive off and go to the next place. And if you're in Spain, you could say, hey, I'm done with Spain, let's go to Sweden or whatever you fancy, and you just go woof.
All those sort of places that we've never holidayed in. You know, we've never done Switzerland or Sweden, or we've never been to Germany, and it's all them places that's what we want to do. We want to explore all those places, and this is the perfect way to do it, perfect vehicle to do it in.
So when we first met you and we got to know you those 6 months ago, you were, I think, perhaps it's my perception, but I think you were still on the cusp of, were you going to continue doing it long term? What were you going to do in the future? But now that we've met you 6 months later, I perhaps feel that you've gone more into the, we're on our van, that's what we're doing now, and that's our path for however long.
I think we both feel the same way at the moment, that I definitely want to continue doing this. We haven't even scratched the surface of the places that we'd like to visit. Initially, it was purely just financial, whether we could fund it long term, but now we've obviously discovered that we can. So happy days. You know, I'm definitely in no rush to go back to doing a full-time job. I know I'm doing a project at the moment, but I'm in a totally different mindset.
Well, that's a means to an end, isn't it?
Exactly.
You know there's an end.
I know there's an end to
it.
it.
You're back
and
out
at the
on the
end,
road,
we're back and we're free. So I'm sitting in work, whereas previously I might have been, you know, strapped into that job because of financial obligations with the house and everything else, and that brings its own level of stress. Whereas now I'm going to work thinking, great, in a couple of months' time I get to go and travel again. So I'm at work, but I'm still really happy about it. It just changes your whole way you feel about life and everything.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had so many days where I've been sat in my chair on the beach in the sun with a cold beer, having just had a swim, and I've done maybe an hour or 2 hours work, which I do most days.
Don't get much better than that.
And I just think this is just amazing. You know, it's just absolutely incredible. I just can't believe it's just amazing. It's just
eventually, I'm sure that we will come back to the UK and we will settle down. But for the moment, we're just going to enjoy it while we're able to, and while we're young enough to do stuff. If I want to go surfing or do whatever, then I'm going to do it now. Because why work until you're in your late 60s, 70s or whatever, and maybe not have the health, not be able to do that, you know, so do it now while you can.
Absolutely, definitely.
And I think for a lot of people that look at what we do, it's a massive jump for them, isn't it? And it was for us. You know, we had fears, and we've never travelled long term, or never done like kids do now, backpacking and things like that. We never did all that when we was kids.
No.
We just had, like you said, like the package holidays, 2 weeks a year, and that's all your experiences of travelling were. So it was all completely new for us. But now we've been in it for a couple of years. Like, we can't believe how easy it is, to be honest. And why weren't we doing it sooner?
Yeah.
We should have done it years ago.
Yeah, I mean, what was crazy for us is we lived in our house, and I'd never driven a van of any sorts for work reasons or anything. I'd never been on holiday in a motorhome. I'd been to a couple of kind of quite expensive campsites for a holiday in Cornwall, but it wasn't like we took our own tent. It was like we paid the campsite, we arrived, there was a tent there, everything was in it, and then you go home and you go back to work.
Yeah.
So for us, it was like a massive culture shock, because 1 minute you're in your big house with all your stuff and your nice car and so on, and then literally when you get to the point where suddenly you realise I'm actually doing this, and then the next day you're in a van.
Yeah.
So I drove off in my van, having literally never done that in my life, and sort of drove into the sunset, so to speak. And all that time I was still thinking, my God, I felt like I was doing something wrong, or it was not my mindset was in a house kind of thing.
So you had the same kind of fears and worries initially before doing it?
Absolutely, the whole thing, it was I felt like I was maybe having some kind of midlife crisis. Maybe I was mad, I can't, and you box all your stuff up, and while you're doing that it doesn't seem kind of real, but when you then drive off and you park up for your first wild camp, if that's the right word, in France or whatever, and you're like, my God, what am I doing? I live in a van, but so it's taken me quite a long time to transition my mind into who I now am.
And then are you guys thinking this is going to be long term for you as well? Or?
I just think every day that passes, every week, I just enjoy it more.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine ever going back to a 3-bedroom semi in the Cotswolds or the Chilterns or whatever. But I think we would probably like to buy some land or a property somewhere in Europe at a later date.
Try and do something sort of off-grid.
And it would be like the van, so it would be solar powered, 12 volt powered, everything kind of low key, off grid.
Would that be in the UK or somewhere in Europe?
No, I think probably it would be somewhere warmer, like the heat. So maybe not necessarily on the coast, but somewhere, maybe in the natural parks of Portugal, or maybe in the Sierra Nevada in Spain, somewhere out the way. And I don't think we'd live there full time. I think we would go there, maybe grow some food, and maybe open up and have other van people down.
Yeah, and you still pop back to the UK and whatever. Can't
and then we would drive around, but if you want to, you can go back to your base. And
very much like the explorers, isn't it? Like Nick and Sarah.
Yeah,
they've obviously got their place in Spain, haven't they? And then they travel out from there and then head back to that as a base. So, that'd be a cool idea.
So I would. And the other thing I find interesting is obviously, like you're on YouTube or on YouTube, Instagram, and so on, and you get lots of people following you, sort of for the vicarious kind of fly on the wall, follow your adventure, and you meet a lot of people online who I think would like to do something similar, but they've never come across it before.
I mean, I get people that message me, and the comment is, I've got absolutely no plans of building a van or doing what you're doing, but find it really fascinating just to watch your journeys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's great. And I think it's also, I quite like the idea that maybe what I'm doing might inspire other people. It doesn't have to be living on a van full time. It could be living on a boat, or or spending more time of your life for yourself. Living life rather than working to live, kind of thing.
Yeah, that was my philosophy all along. Is don't sort of like work to live. So, live your life, sort of thing, or live every day almost as though it's your last, sort of thing, and make the most of it. Yeah, definitely.
And I think, without getting all psychological, I think it's quite strange, really, because I came out of college, I got a good job, and I worked horrendous hours, 7 to 8 hours a week, had a nice house, a nice car, had a nice holiday every year, and I thought that's what you're supposed to do, kind of thing, so I just did it. Yeah. And you kind of tell yourself, well, I'm doing it for my kids, so they've got a nice education, we've got a nice house to live in, we've got a nice garden, nothing wrong with any of that. But nobody at any point had said, did you know there's another way you could live your life? I just thought I'd work till I was 65 and then retire, and then that would be when you could maybe think about what you wanted to do. So I like the fact that there are more and more people following a version of our path or your path where they're putting themselves perhaps ahead of that stereotypical way of living life.
Yeah, I think we like with the chat we had last night, and we were saying about it, weren't we, that there's no provision currently for you to live a nomadic life, is there? You've got to have a fixed address. You've got to have all this sort of, if you want a bank account, you've got to have a fixed address and things like that. And it's just not possible to live without those ties. So they're kind of like, it's society's forcing you into living that way of life. But what if you don't want to live that way of life?
And I think a lot of people who are maybe not into the van life culture probably presume that most people that live on a van are kind of unemployable, kind of have some kind of psychological issue, and they're kind of out on the fringe of the world and they're not really great people or whatever. When in fact almost everyone we meet is, they work, they
very affluent people and very educated,
and do all kinds of amazingly different kind of things. We know a couple who they live full time on their van and they're in IT, so they work full time 4 days a week, full hours, sort of 9 to 5 for 4 days a week. And then the only thing they do differently to another IT kind of person is they live in a van. But they've made it work. We met an astrologer who does astrology on the road. You meet all kinds of interesting people, but I haven't actually met anyone that doesn't work. Everybody's still.
There are obviously, there's both ends of the spectrum, aren't there? Really.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
There's guys that do it because, they need to for financial reasons, and it's a way that you can live, really cheaply. We're really fortunate. I've had really good education, really good jobs in the past, and financially we're quite secure. So we're probably at the other end of the spectrum, if you like. I mean it to sound not sort of boasting, but we're actually in the 40% tax bracket in terms of income tax with the income that we're bringing in. So we're not on the breadline at all, but we still choose to live this lifestyle because of the freedom and the stress. It's so much better than being tied into a house.
And there's more and more people starting to do it, isn't there? And I guess with people like us and yourself and all the other people we know that are on YouTube and so on, the more you put that out there, I guess the more people go, oh, I could do that. So I see more and more people converting vans, more and more people mailing me and you obviously and saying
I get hundreds and hundreds of people that are contacting us, which is great. Just starting out, just bought a van, just found the YouTube channel and watching the videos and whatever, and it's brilliant. Really
and I like that we're maybe doing a little bit I don't want to sound odd, but a little bit to help other people maybe realise that there are choices you can make. We've had a lovely weekend, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Yeah, it's been brilliant catching up with you guys.
Really it feels a bit short really now.
Yeah, it feels weird. We could have done with a few more days, to be honest. It's gone really quickly, isn't it? Yeah, sort of like, it was like 3 days, 2 nights, and one or two beers and some hilarious games of Uno and Dobble.
Absolutely,
But it's been a really good crack.
So I think we're hoping we can meet you up for maybe a day over the Christmas and New Year
we'll
period.
definitely get that planned in. We've got a couple of weeks off Christmas and New Year, so we can definitely sort something out there, I'm sure.
And then April, May, when you're back on the road full time, maybe we can get a convoy going again, or tie up or go somewhere.
Yeah, we'll definitely meet up when we're back out in Europe for sure.
Get some fires going. That was fun, wasn't it?
Some cool beaches, sunshine and whatever, that'd be lovely. No, it's been great to see you, mate.
So I'll put links to Greg's channel, and if you're building a van, Greg's definitely the place to go to for advice. Well, you're like the go-to really, aren't you? I know you play it down, but like everybody goes to your channel to build a van.
It's been really good. I've been totally made up how it's grown. Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Ready?
Yeah.
Ready, Rose?
Yeah.
Ready, cats? Maybe. Bye. Bye.